So we thought we'd sit down for a few minutes and reflect on our year of climbing. This has been our second full year of climbing since we started, and despite being a really inconsistent year, obviously there's been several months where we haven't done any climbing at all. We've tried to make the most of the time that we could spend climbing, and I think we've had a really fun and successful year as well, and really got a lot out of it. So we thought we'd reflect on the goals that we set for ourselves last year and think about how well we've met them and what things we've achieved outside of that as well.
So you probably haven't watched the video where we go over what were going to be our New Year's resolutions for climbing, because the video was recorded on a GoPro with wind and passing traffic. It wasn't very popular. But it was a really good framework for us to try and make sure we were moving forwards this year. We weren't going to just rest on our laurels. We wanted to push forward to become more confident, more competent climbers. And for me, the first of these goals was, I'm going to sneak my eyes down here, I've got a list of my goals. So my first goal for the year was to lead climb. I wanted to take top roping and upgrade that to climbing on lead in an indoor setting by the end of this year. Because of the interruption of the coronavirus, because of not being able to do that very much, the actual goal itself was not hit. But I do think I made a lot of progress in this area. So regularly doing climbing on top rope at our local gym, regularly putting myself in a situation where I'm climbing at height, really helped me build confidence in that. And where at the beginning of the year, I was really sort of just getting used to the idea of being on top rope, wearing a harness. We bought our own equipment for that stuff this year.
Yeah.
I go from a position of trying to get more and more comfortable just being at height. I'm now climbing at or close to my physical limit on those routes. So I was able to achieve climbing a 6B plus this year on top rope, which I'm really pleased with. And I do think a 6C might be possible where I'm at the moment. I haven't done it yet. But I do feel like I've made a lot of progress towards being confident enough to do a lead class. And we have booked that in for the 9th of January next year. And because I haven't really pushed forward on that, I think it's been great that Helen's been able to also build confidence alongside me. And where I was really keen to do lead climbing, Helen wasn't. You have agreed to do the class with me in January. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to be really good.
Yeah. Well, you need a belayer, don't you? So
yeah.
I may as well. And I'm excited about it as well. And I'm really glad that I'm in a position where I feel confident enough to do that, because this time last year was a completely different situation. My first goal that I set myself last year was a grade related goal, and I had a target for both top roping, which had actually only just started, and bouldering, which I've been doing for a year and 2 years now. So I had a goal of doing 5C or 5 plus or something on top rope. So at that time when I set that goal, I'd just been doing 3s, 4s and a couple of 5s probably on top rope in the indoor gym, and I was still struggling like a lot with my fear, and it was still quite new, like we didn't do that many sessions, and absolutely smashed that goal. So I managed to do a lot of top roping this year when the gyms were open, because our local gym is centred around roped climbing. So that was great. Feel really pleased with how my confidence has progressed over this past year. And yeah, I think I flashed a 6B indoors in the gym this year. So that's great. Yeah, so I think that says that like I can do more when I'm in a good space and I'm feeling confident, and also it suits my style. So yeah. And then for bouldering, I really wanted to do 6B or V4, so I guess I'd probably done like 6A last year. I didn't really know how ambitious to be, having only had a year of climbing under my belt at that point, so maybe this was a little bit of a soft target, maybe the top rope goal was as well. But yeah, smashed that as well, so I've definitely done multiple V4s and some routes that may or may not have been V5, not sure. But yeah, really pleased with how I've progressed. Yeah. Yeah,
like you've absolutely like knocked that one out of the park, really. My second target for the year was based around getting physically fitter, not just sort of directly linked to climbing, but just more generally physically fit. So I wanted to build my cardiovascular fitness, and I had in my mind that this would be centered around getting back to running. In my sort of early to mid 20s, I was quite a keen runner, and I've gone in and out of love with running over the years. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I just can't be bothered. And this year, it was my intention to do lots of running.
You were signed up to the marathon this year.
I was, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I didn't have to do it. And yeah, coronavirus kind of saved me from having to do a marathon this year.
Yeah.
But the reason why that's a good thing is that my knees have been pretty terrible. Those of you who've been watching our channel for a little while probably have heard me moan about them. Injured my knee when I fell during my first climbing competition. There's a video about that. But then afterwards, just generally going walking and things, my knees were getting a lot of pain, and that has been less and less a problem throughout this year. And I'm putting that down to another silver lining from the coronavirus and self-isolation and being at home a lot. We started to do yoga pretty much every day. Out of yoga, we then got into more specifically flexibility training and just sort of strength exercises and things, and building the strength and building the flexibility in my legs in general has really helped my knees to be more resilient. And I think I'm in a hugely improved position now to be getting back into running next year. So I did neglect the running this year. My cardiovascular fitness probably hasn't improved as much as I intended, but I've shifted a little bit of weight. Not that I had a huge amount I wanted to lose, but I've shifted a bit of weight. I feel a bit healthier and happier, and the knees being improved is massive for me because I'm going to be able to get back into running next year, and I am excited about that. And when the Manchester Marathon is rearranged, I have a place in it. Hopefully I'll get around it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. My second goal for the year was to work on my weaknesses. So when I first got into climbing and throughout my first year, I sort of realised that there's certain styles of climbing and certain types of routes and things that I was better at and that I enjoyed more. And it's very easy to pick out only the problems that you're going to really enjoy doing and kind of neglect the ones that are harder or you're not as good at. So one of my goals for this second year was to try and work on my weaknesses and widen my pyramid, as it were. So I had an idea that could focus around trying to do specifically a roof problem, a boulder problem, because at the time I felt like one of my weaknesses was power and core strength. I haven't specifically spent any time really at all trying to focus on doing a roof boulder problem, but I have built a lot on working on my weaknesses, I think.
Yeah.
In lots of different ways, including power and core strength. So I've done a lot of core training this year. I would say I've done a session at least once a week, usually with Sam as well.
Yeah.
And I have done a lot of power training as well. Specifically, I've been working on pull-ups this year and other strength exercises. Yeah, can do a pull-up.
Yeah. Helen did her first ever pull-up this year, and in our last climbing session, at the end of a session, did 2 pull-ups in a row. Awesome. But we will bring you a vlog all documenting the whole process from deciding that you wanted to do a pull-up.
Yeah.
And then actually, what work went into that, and it took a while, didn't it? But
yeah.
I'm really impressed with that. That's a high five right there.
Yeah. So I have done training to work on power, things like doing the pull-up training and other strength training. So really pleased with that. And then I've spent time working on other weaknesses as well. So I mentioned in my first goal, confidence has been a huge thing, and I've really built up my confidence over the past year. So really pleased with that, both in the rope climbing and also bouldering as well, because I had a bit of a problem for quite a while last year with when I'm tackling boulders that are near the limit of my ability. I would get to the second to last move and I just wouldn't be brave enough to do it, even if that move wasn't necessarily harder than any of the others, because it was higher up. I would be too scared to make the move, and I feel like I've really gotten over that this year, so really chuffed with that, and I feel like that's definitely a weakness that I've worked on and really improved on. So yeah, really chuffed with that.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed that Helen's improved on hugely this year is really quite big, dynamic, sort of dead point style moves. So where you need to go beyond where you can reach just like locked off, or beyond where you can reach statically. You've been doing quite a lot of semi-dynamic moves where you're throwing up to a dead point, catching the hold and sticking that. So I've been impressed and noticed a huge improvement there as well.
Yeah, thanks.
So my third target is good because I actually hit it. My first two targets of like wanting to lead climb and wanting to improve my cardiovascular fitness, lead climbing I just didn't do. Improving my cardiovascular fitness, sort of not entirely very clear. But I did want to go out and boulder outdoors much more often, and I think we've done a lot more of that. And not just actually getting out there, but really adjusting to the mindset of being outdoors, feeling familiar in that setting, and achieving some sends that are challenging and that I'm really proud of doing. So most recently, I think that would have been like the Wallace Lab problem on the Wallace Lab boulder. I was really pleased to get up that. I do want to go back and get it cleanly because it basically took some skin out of my finger because I sort of slipped, But yeah, like going outdoors, we've been to Bovey Woods loads this year. There's quite a few vlogs for you to watch about that. We got up on Dartmoor once or twice. We went once with the camera anyway, and it's been really nice. Whilst there's been so many restrictions with what people can do, and like all businesses are closed, we can't go to restaurants and stuff. We have been able to get outdoors and exercise, and that's been a real sort of lifeline for us. I don't know, lifeline feels a bit extreme, but it's been a great thing to keep us having a lot of joy in our lives, and I've really loved that. Linked in with wanting to boulder outdoors more, I did have in my head that we would go away, we'd go to these really cool locations, and travel's been restricted, but in terms of exploring our local area, yeah, we've done a lot of outdoor climbing this year, and I've been really pleased with that.
Yeah, so my third goal was also related to outdoor climbing. So last year, in our first year of climbing, we did one outdoor climbing trip. We did a couple of days bouldering in Gliese, which was near to where we were living in Germany, and we did one outdoor day of roped climbing with a friend who had equipment and stuff.
And we went to Yosemite.
And we went to Yosemite and did a little bit of bouldering there as well. So we did a couple of trips, but nothing regular. So one of my goals for this year was to do a multi-day bouldering trip, because that was something I really enjoyed last year. And I had in my head that was going to be Fontainebleau because it's, you know, the best place in the world, arguably, for bouldering.
So we're told.
Yeah.
We don't have any direct experience of that yet, but it's definitely on our radar. We want to go.
Yeah, it's a big area with a lot available, and a lot available for beginners as well, or beginners and intermediate climbers, I think. So it would be an amazing place to go. We've not been because of the travel situation, obviously, this year, but we have done a couple actually of local sort of 2-day bouldering trips in our local area near Dartmoor. So really enjoyed those and really looking forward to and hoping that we can get that trip to Font maybe next year.
We had these specific intentions for the year. We had these goals that we decided at the end of last year, and to a greater or lesser extent we've either made progress towards them or we've hit them or not, but we have hugely progressed in our climbing in general over these last 12 months, and you don't always make the progress and sort of hit those milestones that you expect to. Sometimes it's totally different. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable and confident with the scary parts of climbing, like being at height, like topping out outdoors on, you know, sketchy rocks covered in debris and all these kinds of things. Like, just the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and the strength, as we've seen as well, has improved. We're able to hold on to smaller holds, we're able to pull ourselves up more easily. Huge sort of progression in that sense, and there's loads of things and specific sort of things that we've done that I'm really proud of, or I know that you're really proud of.
I'm really pleased with how much we have progressed this year, and how I feel like both of us actually are you know, on an upward tangent again, because you may feel differently, but I felt at the end of last year like I definitely plateaued at the end of my first year of climbing. And you hear a lot about how much you will progress as a beginner climber in your first year or first couple of years. And I feel like I got in a bit of a rut at the end of last year. And that might have just been due to like doing the same thing a lot. Whereas I feel like this year we've had a lot of, there's been a lot of varied stimuli, like changing the stimulus a lot. So we've got into outdoor bouldering, we've done a lot more indoor top roping. We've like had a lot more variety of experiences. Whereas last year, just going to the same bouldering gyms all the time and trying the same style problems, maybe, I felt like I was starting to plateau. So I feel really excited that I feel like I'm on an upward tangent now. Upward trajectory. I feel really excited to just have more of that next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any plateaus in the immediate future for us. I think we're both improving. We're kind of counter to what you said in terms of like having a bit more of a varied experience. Like I do think that going outdoors and doing that more regularly has expanded our experience. But similarly, our local climbing gym now, the bouldering is so much more restricted than where we were living in Mines, where there was a huge bouldering specific gym with 3 separate areas. We're now in a climbing gym which caters more towards lead and top rope, and there's 2 small bouldering rooms. We have a really limited number of easy problems. So we warm up, maybe we do some of those easiest problems more than once to get warmed up properly, and then straight away you're then challenging yourself. And I think our ability to challenge ourselves and as a result improve as boulderers has been sort of accelerated by going to a gym where the easy boulders are fewer, and it just puts you in that mode of trying hard all the more quickly. So I think that's been a huge benefit of being in a gym where maybe we were a little bit disappointed by the bouldering offerings at the beginning, but I'm really glad that is our local gym, and I've been absolutely loving. I have to share this with you. Our last bouldering session, I got 2 V6 dynamic boulders. One of them, it only took a few attempts really to get it, didn't it? Maybe like 6 to 10 attempts. And then another one I'd been trying on and off for several sessions. Really scary, dynamic boulder where you're going sort of up and across and down. Managed to get that hot on the heels of that first one, so really pleased. But trying hard stuff and being able to do it, you find out where your limits are, where you actually put yourself in the position where you're really challenged.
For me, my number one achievement this year is how much my confidence has grown with climbing, and I think that's come from exposing myself a lot more to top roping, which we'd only done a little bit at the end of last year, and also to outdoor bouldering, which is innately scary because there's a bit more consequence, and that's helped to build my confidence loads, as has doing some strength training. So I do feel like now that I feel physically a bit stronger, that does give me a lot more confidence that I'm going to get the next hold and hold on if it feels, if it's a bit out of reach and I've got to do a dynamic move. I feel a bit more secure in myself. So that's helped. You
no longer have the excuse that, it can't be doing it this way because that's basically just a pull-up. You just need to be able to do a pull-up because you can do a pull-up.
I can now do a pull-up. I don't have that excuse.
Yeah. Nice one. Basically, we're really happy with the progress that we've made this year. You may, watching this, also have achieved some things you're really proud of this year, but there's quite a high chance that circumstances have conspired against you and you haven't. And obviously, that's fine. If you haven't made progression with your own climbing this year, you shouldn't feel bad about that at all, really.
I think everybody's journey is different, isn't it? And a journey isn't just always going to be in a straight line, and it isn't always going to be progression. Like we were talking about plateaus before, like that happens. And
if you get stuck in a terminal waiting for a delayed flight, at least you can play Pokemon. Exactly. So if you haven't been improving your climbing, you've probably been doing things like reading books, watching some great TV, enjoying the kinds of things that are suited to being in lockdown. Because obviously the rules that we've had in our country and in our area, we've been able to get out and climb outdoors when the gyms have been shut. When the gyms have been open, we've been able to go to them. That's not been the case for everyone. So
so I think yeah, we can be really grateful that we have managed to keep up our climbing this year and maintained our motivation for it and had some really awesome experiences. So it's been a good year.
Yeah. Here's to another one.
Yep.
I'd toast you, but I didn't bring a drink.
No, that's alright.
I'll just do my jingle bells while you have a drink. Okay. So yeah, if you want to find out how we do next year, then hit the subscribe button. Like this video if you want us to feel good about ourselves, and leave a comment if you have anything to say about your own climbing achievements, or if you just want to give us a pat on the back and say well done. That'd be nice. So yeah, see you in the next video, maybe next year. But we also have some vlogs from cool stuff we've been doing, pull-ups we've been doing. There's a couple of other climbing trips that have footage, so that'll be coming in the soon. That'll be coming in the soon. So look out for that.
Yeah.
Bye.